keep it forever. And now let's say hello to all those people out there in the live streaming world. That's right, the live streaming world. So did you guys see the logo this week where they show the show design or whatever you want to call it that I created? I have to say, artificial intelligence is pretty amazing. You know, it's much better than the old definition of a blonde wearing a brunette wig. I have to say, it's well, anyway, there you go. I've lost all my female audience now. There you go. You know, just like that coach in the Spanish soccer team or football team, depending on where you are. But hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to our current events show, and join us for the news and stay for the laugh. So hopefully that was some laugh you just got. I'm your host, Jan Landy. Everything you hear today is an opinion. This is our 173rd meeting consecutive without a break every week on Wednesday. So anyway, we'll welcome everybody who's on the panel, and then we'll get into the question of the week, and then we'll go into some stories, but maybe we'll go into some stories first, and then we'll go into the question of the week. But just remember, you can join the panel anytime you like. Just DM me, send me an email. You know how to reach me. It's easy. Just look at the bottom of the screen, and there we are. Thanks for everybody who's watching out at home and in your car. Well, I hope you're not watching in the car while you're driving. However, you're listening to where you can find us wherever you can find any podcast, and as well as YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and X. So, but I'm thinking about leaving X because of all the turmoil that's going on there. But welcome everybody on the panel. Historically speaking, now we ask anybody who wants to introduce themselves. So this is the opportunity to say hello and welcome to the world.
Well, I guess I'll go since I'm sitting here. It's Brian Scott. I'm out of the Charlotte area with Sound Integrity. Do your live events.
Well, there you go. Very good. And then let's start, Brian, seeing you're here. I read an article, and here's the question of the week. So we will do the question of the week. Where in your house is the germiest place? The germiest place. This is an article from CNN. So basically, where do you think the most germiest place in your house is?
I say, well, there's the germiest and there's the most dangerous.
The germiest.
A lot of germs don't mean anything. It's probably your keyboard.
No, that's a good guess. It shows your thinking.
Kitchen hand towel.
Kitchen hand towel. That's very, very close.
Sink.
Your bath.
That's it. That's it. The germiest place in your house happens to be near the sink. It happens to be the sink sponge. Most people don't replace it every week. And according to Paul Dawson, who's a scientist who analyzes germs, he says that the germiest place in the house is the sponge in your kitchen sink. So as a tip of the week, we recommend that you change your sponge every week. What does that have to do with anything? I have no idea, but I thought it was cute and clever.
You know what it is in a restaurant?
No, what is it?
The menu. It's the one thing that never gets washed.
Well, that's why they've changed to scanning the codes and looking at it on your phone, which I hate because it's just too small and you can't really get the maximum benefit by scanning the menu on your phone. You know, you need to bring an iPad. What do you guys think about that?
I'd rather have a paper menu, period.
Yeah, if they go
That's
back
right.
to paper ones, now they got these laminated ones.
Here in Thailand, they actually wash the laminated menus. Most restaurants have laminated menus here in Thailand. But anyway, let's move on. We've talked about this enough. Let's move on. And David, I'm going to bring up a story that's in your neck of the woods: the demolition of Marilyn Monroe's home. So the last place she lived in Brentwood, a guy bought the property and was going to tear it down when a huge group of people said, no, you're not going to do that on our watch. This is Marilyn Monroe's last place that she lived. And so they got a petition together, and now the house is being designated a historical cultural land monument, which means The guy can't do what he's planning on doing. And so now he has Marilyn Monroe's home in the exact condition that it was when she last lived there.
Yeah, I think it's not important. I don't care about that as a place for worship. Tear it down. Means
Yeah,
nothing.
I would say that you're probably right in that case. I mean, Marilyn was really wonderful, a great actress. I guess the middle of many a rumor that came with John F. Kennedy. And by the way, did you guys read the article that the FBI agent that was in the car with John, or outside the car of John F. Kennedy, is now disputing the facts of the Warren Commission? He's saying that, hey, that was not a magic bullet. There was a second bullet. Did you hear that?
Yeah, but he also said he doesn't know how it went from Kennedy's gurney to Connolly's gurney, that it must have rolled. And those gurneys are not that close that a bullet isn't going to fall if it's rolling. So I don't get it.
Well,
But
he
that's
said
the
that
story.
he said that he collected the bullet himself and put it on the gurney to help the doctors figure out what had happened. That all sounds like a lot of BS to me, but the reality is it's in the news.
He said he put it on Kennedy's gurney, not Connolly's.
That's right. And how it got there, we don't know.
But they found it on Connolly's gurney. So the question is, how did it get over there? And he says, well, maybe it rolled over, but he doesn't have an answer.
Well, it was a magic bullet. That's why. And it goes back to the magic bullet. One of the funniest Seinfelds was that with they took that Kennedy bullet and they did it with baseball with the New York Yankees, about how Kramer and Newman were walking down the aisle. And they got hit by a loogie. For those who don't know what a loogie is, I think that's a New York term for being spit on. Anyway,
I'll be back.
Moving on, Freddie Mercury's Bohemian Rhapsody piano sold at auction for $2.2 million. Did you buy that, Brian?
No.
It seems to me amazing that people can actually document the fact that was the piano that he wrote the song on. And then what's even more amazing is that somebody would pay $2.2 million for a piano. I mean, but there are fans.
What's the A-class Steinways? They're not even selling for that much money.
No, they don't. Those are amazing. One of the things that always fascinates me, and you guys have probably seen this more than I have lately, is how they move in a grand piano, how it takes only one guy to move in a grand piano onto a stage and then tune it at the same time. Have you seen that lately, Kurt? Are people using grand pianos where you're doing your shows?
We've had a little bit. A lot of times it's fake and it has a digital keyboard in it, but there have been a few real ones, and we had to wait around and you can't make any noise for sound check while they're tuning it and all that kind of stuff. Two or three.
Here now has an easy tilt for his grand piano. I used to move him when I was in high school, but he's got an easy tilt that he puts on the bottom of the grand piano, and that's just cheating.
Yeah, that's cheating.
We have one for sale on our website.
Yeah, but that's for a console, not for a piano.
No, we do. We have a grand piano mover, does the moving for you, listed on our website. ID number 145641.
There you go. Thank you, Tina. And the show has now been sponsored by Soundbroker. I have to make a notice on YouTube for that. This has now been a paid political announcement, which is crazy. Another thing that's really crazy is the French billionaire, Francis Henry Pinault. He bought CAA. I mean, amazingly expensive, I guess for him, it wasn't no big money. What lines does he own? He has Gucci, Saint Laurent, Balenciaga, and basically he bought, what was it, $7.7 billion to buy CAA. And now he's controlling all these different artists, which is one of the biggest agencies. I believe that we interface with those kind of people all the time as musicians. They have the biggest client roster, I believe.
Wow, he bought CAA. Who let that happen?
Yeah, Creative Artists Agencies by
Yeah.
Artemis. So, and from France. So now the largest US talent agency is owned by a Frenchman, or at least most of it is owned by a Frenchman, which, well, I guess that's the way life goes. You know, nothing lasts forever.
Hey, speaking of talent agencies, I just saw this thing on Famous Amos. Did you ever interact with him in LA prior to the Cookie Empire? When he was an
No, I
agent?
never did.
David probably did, but he's not here.
David probably wouldn't have interfaced with him, only because David was doing more sound. I was doing more of the business side. And I don't remember. What was the story with him before the Cookie Empire?
He was a talent agent in the music business.
No, I never dealt with him. But one thing I will give him credit for, other than a great cookie, the Famous Amos cookie was, I haven't had one in a while. I don't know if he's still in business, but one thing that he's known for saying is happiness is an inside job. And I love that expression from a standpoint of where nobody can make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. Although there are episodes that could happen in your life that will cause that emotion for you to come out. But happiness is an inside job. And Famous Amos is known for being the first person to say that quote. Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Not from him, no.
Well, there you go. Now he's got credit where credit is due. Yep, happiness is an inside job. You know.
But wait,
you know
hold on. But Kurt, who did you hear that from?
Oh, no, I mean, I hadn't heard it before. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I thought he heard it from me. You know, well, if you'd ever heard it from him and you heard it from me, then I guess maybe, just maybe, I'm the one that came up with it. But no.
So now
Famous
this
Amos,
is
that's where I heard it.
So while we're on the sweet subject, did you see that this week that Twinkies got sold? And J.M. Smucker's bought them. So now there's going to be jelly flavored Twinkies.
Wow, that's going to be delicious, especially down south where they deep fry them. Have you ever had a deep fried Twinkie?
No.
Yes. It's good.
And it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. You can only dream about it. That's about the size of it. They're delicious. Hey, if anybody out there has had one, you know, leave a comment about it, how good it was and how it stopped your heart for that 25 seconds that it took your body to digest it. That's about it. So did you guys hear about the new fire festival that's going on? I mean, some people just don't learn a lesson. So this guy who, you know, the first fire festival, everybody lost everything. You know, people got there, got stuck in the island, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And then now he's went to jail for fraud. And now he's back out of jail. And there's now going to be a fire festival too. What do you think about that, guys?
You can't
Trust
correct
him.
stupid.
You know? So speaking of shows, did you hear about the New York City show, the EDM show? It's called EZoo in New York, where they had I think it's on Rikers Island. I think that's where they have the show. I'm not 100% sure if it's in Rikers Island, but basically they had to cancel the show on the main show for day one. Did you guys hear about that?
Nope.
I don't follow those.
Well, there you go. Now you know it. In New York, they canceled the show the first day. But did you hear about what happened in Las Vegas? And we have a reporter that was on the street in the arena at the same time that Ed Sheeran canceled his show at Allegiant Stadium an hour before the scheduled start of the show. Tina?
Yeah, he canceled it. All right.
Yeah, he came out and said there was some technical logistics problem.
I wasn't
that
even
they-
in yet. I was getting there, and it said it all over the freeway. Show has been rescheduled for 10/28, but it didn't say what show or what was rescheduled. And everybody was like, it can't be. It just can't be.
Yeah, it would say, and the interesting thing about that show was it was the #1 show of attendance that had sold more tickets than any other show ever to go into Allegiant Stadium. And he canceled it within an hour of showtime, saying that they couldn't put on a show that was safe due to the staging. And I am not sure what happened there. I haven't heard the inside scoop. Kurt, have you heard anything?
I haven't, no.
They also said
I
that
read-
they told
I
the
read
public
yes-
that it was logistical errors.
I read yesterday that it was heat, but he just said it was too hot to go on stage and he's. blaming
No, not,
just-
not at all. I'll tell you what it was.
Oh, good.
He's in the round and his rig is supported by itself. And something was happening by the weight and the feet was sliding on the ground, taking them out of square. And it became dangerous because after the second day, they moved even more. And they said, we cannot run this show. This is unsafe. It's got to come down. And whatever the problem is with the floor that's allowing these trusses to slide is something they're going to have to fix. But that's what the problem was. They decided it was unsafe and they canceled the show.
At Allegiant, the football field?
What was that? Yeah. Yeah, at Allegiant, right.
Yeah, but our football field is interchanging, you know, and they change the turf all the time as well.
Well,
changed
they had to be putting something down over the turf.
well,
Some
I
sort
mean,
of
but the
some
turf
sort
is
of
not,
planking.
it doesn't sit there because they change it for two different teams. And then, you know, they also move in the grass, the real grass. So of course there'd be something moving under there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so-
I even on turf, you have loose material and they're just not getting it stabilized from what I'm understanding from Dave.
Right.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
He's coming
They-
back in October, so they're going to have whatever they have to do to figure it out, cross-trussing, cross-bracing, whatever it is to keep those legs from moving.
Is it like
So good.
Phoenix where the grass goes outside to get the sun and it's concrete, or is it not like that?
Well, half of the we have the grass that the Raiders play on Sundays that moves out into the sun, but then under it they have the turf for the for UNLV and for other events that happen there. So it's both turf and grass.
But never concrete.
No, correct.
Oh, yeah. So they would have moved the grass out because that's too expensive. And yeah, you're right. The turf is probably sliding.
Yeah.
Because the turf is sitting on concrete.
Turf sets on about 6 to 8 layers of inch layer of sand before you put the turf on top of that.
Yes.
Well, obviously there was some stressing going on because something forced the feet to go out of square. And so something was pulling it in the wrong direction and it slid. So they have to figure that out. That's their problem. Not the Allegiant. That's the production problem.
Oh, absolutely. It's the band's problem if that's the case.
They've been doing that
I didn't
design
hear.
for
I didn't hear
years.
all the details because I didn't speak to any of the crew members yet. I just something that I was a little too busy this week doing nothing to try to get somebody on the phone to talk to them and find out what the real scoop was. But it seems to me that makes logical sense. If it was slipping, the stage was slipping, then it would be dangerous for anybody to be on the stage. Plus, not to mention the audience members that would be pushing up against the guardrails.
But it's probably
these-
not the stage. It's probably the way that all of the PA and all this other stuff is rigged on these cables and these trapeze kind of systems. That's more likely what the problem would be. The stage itself is probably not the issue.
Well, we do have an inside man, me and you, Kurt. We do have an inside man that knows what's going on with that shearing. And
Yeah,
I will have to get, he's been very difficult to reach on the phone lately.
Yep.
As he's traveling around the East Coast. But he does have nice pictures from hotel rooms. I have to
Oh, yeah,
get
here
credit
he is.
where that is.
Hey,
So there you have it in that respect.
hang on.
You know, but a lot of
Check
shows
goodbye.
seem to be having problems. Like, for example, there was a show in Germany called the Wacken Open Air Festival, and they had to cancel that show because of the weather conditions. It started to rain, and not as bad as Burning Man. Where Burning Man, they had a big problem, and people are dubbing that Trench Foot 2023. Which is crazy. So I don't remember this many shows in a row that seem to be going down as I'm seeing this year.
Yeah,
What about you guys?
We had a few cancellations from smoke, from the wildfires.
That's up in Seattle in the area of Washington, or was that? up in
Those were in Bend, where I am now. I'm in the Bend house, but yeah, we had a few cancellations in Bend. It really didn't hit Seattle that bad, but it got Bend pretty bad a couple times.
Mhm. Brian, what about you guys down there? How's it hanging with the weather?
Weather's been cooperative because the storms have been staying off the coast. So we'll start to lose. They still say we're gonna have 2 to 3 land strikes and that'll affect shows, but right now the weather hasn't really, other than delayed a few football games, hasn't delayed any production shows. So
What's the story on this Hurricane Lee that's going? I hear that could be a real doozer.
well, it's gone up to category 5 twice. It's back down, I think, to a 3 the last I heard. It's running up the coast right now. They're just basically telling nobody on the East Coast to go swimming because the rip currents are just wicked. It's supposed to strike Boston as a tropical storm. And they're
Wow.
figuring 6 to 8 inches plus of rain in Boston, plus 30 to 40 mile an hour sustained winds. Go up into Nova Scotia and then go back out in the ocean was the last track I saw. But there's a strong enough cold front out here keeping it out at sea for us at the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of natural disasters going on around. Like, for example, Libya, 5,000, what was it, 5,000 people drowned in a flood in Libya? Did I get that right?
I missed that
Eh,
one.
And then, yeah, it just happened. And then you've got all those people in Morocco that died in an earthquake. Over 2,000 people died in an earthquake. And then you have, I mean, I don't even know what the final count was, the fire in Maui. Those are just 3 stories that just pop out,
Yeah,
pop out at you. And you wonder why.
The Maui was preventable, completely preventable.
Completely. Yep.
The local government is suing the power agency because they refused to put on the safety requirements for red flag days. And they've been warned for 10 years to get the vegetation underneath the transmission lines cleaned up. And then the third issue to that was the farmers agency would not release water to the fire department to fight fires. They had to get approval and that they couldn't get any water for about 10 hours. So you combine all 3 of those, that just made for lack of a better term, a perfect storm.
Actually, I'll add another thing. The vegetation that was growing there, that's not indigenous to the area. They brought that in from somewhere else. And it wasn't designed. I guess they now say that vegetation wasn't conducive to, having a natural flow of things any longer. And that was also a problem that added in. And then, of course, the last problem was the guy didn't turn on the sirens to warn people. But I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because the sirens would just signal to people that there was a tsunamis. And so they would go away from the water going into where the main part of the fire was.
Yeah, they would have gone uphill, which would not have been a good thing. I don't know if you ever read that article on the Japanese tsunami. There was 2 US Marines walking in the street before the tsunami hit. And one of them was a farmer or come from a farm. And all of a sudden he saw the animals running uphill and he looked at his buddy and he said, "We better start running uphill now." And the animals knew that the wave was coming in before anybody else did when they all started climbing the elevations. And they said they just barely got out of the water.
Yeah, animals have a natural instinct on these things. I mean, that's why they use, dogs for bomb sniffing and they use dogs to find people, that are buried underground. And now they have dogs that could sniff out COVID and all of these different, different animals that they could use their natural instincts. Like, they even use dolphins for various things to figure out what's happening. So animals really can be inspirational and educational in our way of life.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they've got probably what they can't do is bring goats in there to control that vegetation though. I mean, that's what we got a weed down here called kudzu. And there's guys making fortunes renting goats out to eat the kudzu up. And they're just, they can clean 30 or 40 goats can clean an acre of ground a day.
Well, some
Now,
of that land was-
kudzu,
some of that land
kudzu
was
is it,
abandoned.
is it, I'm sorry, Kurt, go ahead.
So some of that land was abandoned, not sugar cane, but some kind of other plantations. And so it was not being maintained and it was just wild vegetation. And it also, there was no barrier between it and the edge of town because it just grew wild right up to the edge of town. And so they're saying that if they'd maintained some kind of a barrier there, it wouldn't have jumped into the town so much.
Yeah.
So part of it's the non-native vegetation, part of it's lack of management.
Yeah.
Stewardship, I guess they call it.
So going back to Maui, so a lot of people were saying, hey, man, tourists stay away, don't come here. And then there was those people that wanted the tourists. And now all of a sudden, those people that said tourists stay away, they're regretting that because they need the money. There's no money. So now everyone is saying, come on, tourists, come on down. We need you.
And they still haven't made up from not having tourists out there for 2 years during COVID.
Yeah. It's tough out there. I mean, it's also this 2023 was the hottest on record, scientists say. They say the summer of 2023 was the hottest ever. European Union Climate Change Service released on Wednesday that the 3-month period between June and August surpassed previous records by a large margin with an average temperature of 16.8 degrees Celsius. That's 62.2 Fahrenheit above average. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean,
down here, we haven't even hit 100 yet this year.
Is that normal or not normal?
Not normal. We'll usually have 3 to 4 days in the hundreds. And we're really past that window. We only had about half the days in the upper 90s that we normally have. So it's been a cool summer for us.
Isn't that cruel? Did you say cruel summer? Was that a Taylor Swift thing?
No, cool.
Oh, cool summer. Okay, cool summer. Yeah.
Like cool.
Anyway, yeah. And what about wetness? Because it seems like that Europe and I know America was wetter than the world is wetter than most places. Yet France, Greece, Italy, and Portugal saw droughts and they had wildfires as well.
It just depends on where that jet stream's flowing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can't even get insurance anymore for natural disasters in many places. So you're basically stuck.
Florida is down to one company, I believe, now that will write hurricane insurance.
Wow.
Everybody else is pulled out.
That's really crazy. I mean, it's like you buy insurance in hopes you never need it. But when it's easy. One thing I know right now, I'm going through this myself with the insurance companies. It's easy for them to, very easy for them to say, hey, we want your money. You need to pay the premium. Let's go. Come on, pay us. But when you have a claim, they're not so egregious with saying, well, you know what? We can't wait to pay you back. Let's pay you as soon as possible. How do we know this problem didn't exist before you bought insurance? You have to prove that before we're going to pay. It's these people. It's a scam for sure.
My neighbor, I was talking to him. His home insurance was going up 30% this year. And I asked him, I said, well, what's your claim? What did you do? They said, no, the insurance company said, you haven't filed a claim in 30 years. We figure one's coming, so we're going to spike your rate.
Wow. That's outrageous. That's outrageous. It's just, my auto insurance, because I have a commercial vehicle, is like, I don't know, 10 times that of a non-commercial vehicle in Nevada. It's absolutely, it should be illegal, but I guess it's not. Because, they have better lobbyists than I don't even have a lobbyist, come to think of it. But, their lobbyists are better than mine if I had one, So anyway, what else is going on in the news that we should talk about? Oh, I know. The US Open, Novacek, Novak just won what is it, his 24th Grand Slam title? Pretty amazing. Did you guys see the game? Did you see the match?
Nah, I didn't have time.
Oh, it's amazing how these guys hit the ball. So if you play tennis, you wish you could hit the ball as regularly and as hard as they're hitting the ball, and in the direction that you want the ball to go in. It seems like they seem to have more of an accurate stroke, hitting the ball harder than I've ever hit it in my life, and they get it to go exactly where they want it to, whereas I can't. And then Coco Gauff, she won, and she'll probably be the next Serena Williams. I mean, she looks like she's really in great shape and very professional and really a great tennis player, so I'm sure you can watch him on YouTube.
Did they ever get the marijuana situation resolved there? I know one day
Was it not enough?
there was several of the players complaining that the smell of the marijuana was affecting their game on the court side.
Wow. No, I didn't hear that. I didn't know that was possible. I didn't think that was the side effect of marijuana.
So there was 2 or 3 players. I know it was in the women's match. They were complaining to the official because the aroma was too strong down on the court.
Was that from the audience or from the other players?
From the audience.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Well, they could watch it on TV now. I mean, that's they don't have to go to the stadium. They can watch it on TV and smoke at home. But hey, have you been following what's been going on with Disney and Charter down in Florida?
Now,
The whole streaming wars right now. I mean, basically, YouTube TV now has the NFL ticket. They got that away from somebody else. I think Tina, who had the NFL ticket before YouTube got it?
I thought NFL had it. Oh, cable company, huh?
Yeah. Now YouTube TV has it.
DirecTV had it.
Yeah, they're charging to watch any game anywhere, anytime. It's $300 a year for access, and YouTube is paying the NFL $2 billion per season for the 7-year deal. So also, NBC Universal Peacock has more live sports than any other streamer, and they will be putting on all sorts of games on there, including they're going to be broadcasting the wild card playoff games. So here's another interesting fact.
Well, wait, hold on. Brian wanted to say something.
And Peacock, I know they got the Big Ten conference, and I know they were going after the SEC conference. So Peacock now has the Big Ten conference broadcasts.
Well,
So
it seems to me, and what I'm reading is that what people are paying for now more than anything else is live sports. That's what they want. So if you can't give that to them in the cable, people are looking for it elsewhere. And that was the whole thing with Charter and Disney, because Disney has ESPN. And you know how it works. They have ESPN, they have Disney, they have like 5 other channels, and they want, people might not want Disney Plus, but they definitely want ESPN. So Disney Plus is saying, well, you buy ESPN, you got to buy Disney Plus too, Otherwise, you can't have ESPN alone. And that's why so many people are cutting the cord from the cable companies, but they don't really care. The cable companies really don't care anymore, because they have to be the ones that provide you the cable for your internet. So even if you're streaming, the money you're saving is not that great anymore.
So the cable company, well, first off, I think they got it 1 hour before Monday Night Football kicked off, but Spectrum was not allowed to carry ESPN. They cut ESPN off on Spectrum, but they finally got that, which is our cable provider here. But where I'm at, we've got Google Fiber, and Spectrum now has gotten into the mobile phone business because they're losing too much revenue. So now they're running their own, like Verizon. So they've got their own phone network now because they're trying to offset the lost revenue from cable cutting.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of, it's kind of interesting, Mint Mobile. You guys familiar with Mint Mobile?
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds' company. Basically, what he does is he buys block time from T-Mobile and then sells it, and they have their own known company. So they're doing that as well, in a manner of speaking, to save people money. So they're buying blocks and blocks of cable time at huge money, and then by selling it individually to individuals that are on Mint Mobile, they're saving money too.
That's nothing new. That's been going around for years, Jan. Remember when you used to have the calling cards? When we
Oh,
used
yeah.
the yeah, those calling card people bought 1 million minutes of phone from AT&T or whoever, and they just bought the block and then resold it.
Yeah. Yep. But
And
sports
T-Mobile
is where
was,
it's at.
By T-Mobile back in March.
Yeah. Sports is where it's at for sure. I mean, you know what they're saying? They're saying this year that in Las Vegas, I guess it's not just Las Vegas, but 73 million Americans plan on betting on the NFL this season. And that is a 60% spike, a raise in the amount of people that are probably going to be gambling this year on football from last year. 60% more this year than last year in football, betting in football, which is crazy.
They got to get the officials not fixing the games anymore. Which
Yeah, good luck with that.
Sunday looked like it was pretty bad with game fixing. So say
Good luck with that. How many games did you watch this weekend, Tina?
I watched games all day on Saturday and Sunday.
There you go.
If I wasn't
There you
watching,
go.
they were in the background.
There you go. There you go. I rest my case. By the way, so speaking of football, Tom Brady, did you hear this? He's now working for Delta Airlines. Did you guys hear this? That I don't know what he's doing, but he's joining Delta Airlines to work on internal employee training and appear in commercials for Delta.
Yeah.
Like he needs the money, you know?
He's going through a divorce or gone through a divorce, so he's got to make up ground.
Yeah. And poor Aaron Rodgers, oh my God. Isn't that a crime? I mean, that's such a heartbreak. And the local paper put his you know how they have like a time that you've been in something, it was 10 minutes in the NFL. So he had the time of when he started and when he ended his career in New York. And it was like a 10-minute spread as they had on the cover of the Daily News. I believe it was the Daily News. Which
I think the Giants Mafia got him. New York Mafia got him. So, hey, Tina, I just read this earlier. Did MGM Grand get back up and online?
Yes, they did. That was crazy.
Yeah, what was the story on that?
A cybersecurity attack that took out all their properties across the country.
It also took out gambling too, if I understood right.
It took out a lot of gambling machines as well.
That's a huge loss.
I'm willing to bet that there's going to be they're going to be looking for a new head of computer sciences over there. The PsyOps over there at the MGM. So if you guys are looking for that. By the way, did you hear that they're now saying that scientists they're saying that the internet is linked with the likelihood of developing dementia. And they're saying that if you use the internet on a regular basis, that it actually will be helpful, cognitively helpful to you by using the internet. So NYU School of Global Public Health put out a research paper saying that the outcomes of dementia-free adults between 50 and 65 for up to 17 years, using the internet, they have proven that it helps with the likelihood of getting dementia, that you won't get it.
Yeah, but that paper was probably written by AI.
Oh, wait, Dan, repeat what you just said.
I wish I could, Tina. No. All right, I'll read it to you. Scientists investigated whether internet use is linked with the likelihood of developing dementia and found interesting that helpful to older folks, even if their Facebook post might sometimes suggest otherwise. Okay, so it was published in the Journal of American Geriatric Society, and the paper's author was from NYU School of Global Health. And long-term cognitive impact for internet use among older adults seems to be that it's a positive outcome. So they surveyed 20,000 older American adults.
Yeah, but if you use the internet all the time, then you get the redundancy around the waist from not exercising. So
Yeah,
you gotta,
that's for sure. That's for sure. You know what else is interesting about, like a story that's running around this week is, you guys know who Kevin Bacon is?
Yes.
The actor? And you know what he's famous for?
What?
He's famous for 6 degrees of separation. He's the one who came up with the idea that if everybody in the world is connected within 6 degrees of somebody else. Have you ever heard that before?
I've heard it. I've seen it tested.
Well, now the scientists, there are scientists, mathematicians that have actually proved it to be a fact. It's not just a guess anymore. Now they believe, and they actually believe it's less than six degrees. In other words, they feel it's like 3 or 4 degrees between knowing somebody and you will know everybody in the world. They could connect you to everybody in the world. Isn't that amazing?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like say like you and Kurt are friends, and then you both know someone else the same, and then that guy knows 2 other people that you guys may know, and then those 2 other people may know Brian, and like it just keeps going on and going on, right?
You got me.
I think where it is going is that you can trace back. If you go before 2020, I never met Jan before COVID struck, and I could get to Jan by going through my contacts and his contacts, and I would not have to go to more than 6 degrees, 6 contacts up till I find somebody that intersects with Jan coming
Exactly.
6 contacts up. I doubt it's less than 6, but there could be a lot of them that are 2 and 3, but still. And I run into that all the time with where I've worked all over the United States. I mean, it just, oh yeah, I know so and so, and I know so and so, and we loop up.
Yeah, I guess it was also depending on whether or not you're living, in a cloistered life or not. If you live in a bubble, maybe it wouldn't be 6 degrees. But if you're out and about, and you're normally in your normal workaday life, you go up, you go to work, you interface with other people, then I would believe it to be true.
I would say
scientists mathematically have now proven it. So what do I know?
I would say in Charlotte, I'm more toward the 5 to 6 degrees. But if I was back in rural Southern Illinois, where I grew up and my dad taught agriculture, it probably would be 2 to 3, because my dad knew almost every farmer south of Interstate 70.
There you go.
So, I mean, it depends on where your contacts mix is.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of bringing the world closer together, are you guys on Twitter?
X? On X?
Well, now it's called X.
Yeah, because there's no such thing as Twitter.
Well, now they call it X Twitter. Whenever you read about it, it's X/Twitter.
That's
it's
because
the
they just
X
want
Twitter.
people who don't know that X is Twitter, but eventually that Twitter will be dropped, according to Elon Musk on All Summit. Did you watch the All Summit broadcast, his interview?
No. Was Elon Musk interviewed on that?
Yes.
And what did he have to say for himself?
He was just answering the questions, whatever questions they have for him. He was explaining everything from Starlink to the many other companies he has.
A lot of people are thinking that he's a little bit too powerful right now. And I think you'll see that there is going to be some blowback from him. I mean, the latest thing is that now he's announced that he was talking to Vladimir Putin, And the next thing he did was he shut off Starlink to the Ukrainians during one of their offensive pushes. And that is now making the rounds in the news. But not only that, I mean, you know, according to what I've read, is that he's lost 90% of the value of Twitter. 90% of it from what he bought it from. So that's basically, I mean, I don't cry for him. It's still worth $4 billion, but still, nonetheless, you know, he is the richest man in the world. But I really feel that right now he is outspoken when he wants to be outspoken. But if you say something against him, he's just like everybody else. You know, free speech doesn't count when you're talking bad about me, you know? So did you guys hear any of that stuff? Do you guys have an opinion on that?
I'm not a big social media person, and you know, I hear that I need to be more on that, but I just really haven't, you know, I don't play with it. I don't mess with it. So LinkedIn is about as far as I go with social media. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't, you know.
If Twitter,
I try to use social media. We try to use social media all the time. I don't know if it's effective because we don't use a lot of TNA. I mean, it seems like, you know, the more TNA you use, the more effective your social media platform is. You know, most of the people that are really getting to be, you know, memes, you see they're pretty cute. You know, they're good looking people. Whereas the average person, not so much. I mean, every once in a while, it does come to fruition that you get more exposure if you do something that's really worthy of it. But it's a lot easier if you're good looking to get more exposure on social media. But, you know, I can't complain too much. I mean, you know, my Facebook posts get 2 to 3 likes on everything I do, no matter what I do, you know, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Him and he'll cut in half. So did you hear the social media backfire from the Department of Energy this week?
No.
The Secretary of the Energy Department was doing a publicity tour through the Southeast promoting electric vehicles. And they had gone through and calculated where she needed to charge her electric vehicle ahead of time. And I think it was, so, you know, her electric vehicle could only go like 200 miles. And so they were finding another charging station or whatever it was. Well, they got into, I think it was Bristol, either Tennessee or Virginia was where they were at. And her advanced team had gone and parked a gasoline car holding the space at an electric vehicle charging facility. And a person with an EV car called the police on them.
Oh, funny.
To get them to move the car out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I just heard that Pete Buttigieg, who's the Secretary of Transportation, he had some problems charging his electric vehicle as well. So, I mean, eventually they're going to get it together, but for right now, they don't. I mean, one of the things that I've heard is they're trying to bury it into the highway, and that your car, it would be like I guess the third rail of a subway car, where you're pulling the power from underneath rather than above. But still, it takes energy to make electricity.
Yeah. So how would that work during an earthquake or a flood?
Not well.
Cisco's got this new one out that when the electric bus pulls up to a terminal, it raises like what you'd have on the light rail. So when the passengers are loading and unloading, it's doing just a quick juice charge or supplemental charge. But no, I mean, was it a month ago? Not even that. The president of Ford took the electric Lightning out on a road trip or family vacation, and he came back and said, "We're not ready for this yet." Because
I don't think we're ready for it. You know, I don't think we're ready yet either as a country. But as they start, you know, with this new infrastructure deal that the government put together, they'll be building more charging stations. And I'm starting to see more charging stations here in Thailand as well. So I guess it's the future, but it's not here yet.
Well, and the demand, because during the heat waves in Texas, they made them shut down all the EV charging stations.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I did read
enough electricity to run the air conditioners.
Yeah, well, it's a long ways away. It's a long ways away. But you know what's not a long ways away? Listen to this transition. Apple is releasing their new iPhone and Apple Watch. Did you guys happen to see that? What are you showing? What are you showing there, Brian? Did you
Apple
get the new
15,
iPhone?
Apple 15 will no longer have the lightning cable. They are going
That's
to
right.
UBC.
So they're
Yes.
going all the way to USB-C, which is thanks to the European Union because they've demanded it. So they might as well make one phone rather than two. And yeah, that is going to be so good. Right now, when I travel, I have so many different cables. If everything was one format, which USB-C, then you don't have to travel with so many cables and so many adapters and everything like that, which is really cool. But there's nothing in the Apple Watch. I have an Apple Watch. I'm not wearing it right now. It's charging right here. Here it is. There it is. But I didn't see anything in the new watch other than I'll be able to go like this to shut off the alarm that would make me go out and buy the Series 9. This is a Series 8. So I'm going to skip this one and wait for 10 or 11. Although the new Ultra watch really looks cool. I mean, but, don't know if I'm ready to spring for $1,000 for a watch and then another $1,200 for a phone. But I'm using the iPhone 13 and it really works well. I have no complaints with it, but the new technology in the iPhone 15 is really spectacular, especially if you like to take pictures, and we take pictures all the time. So it's basically like buying a new camera rather than a new phone. So I'm buying a camera that happens to make phone calls, but we spend more time on our cell phones than anything else. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, they're like mini computers.
Well, they're more powerful than the Apollo computer.
Yeah. I mean, Tim Cook said something. He said something, it was like a throwaway line, but he says basically, if you left your house and you forgot your phone, you would turn around to go back and get your phone.
Yeah, true.
Done it.
So it's become indispensable to us. Anyway.
I have a question. Does anybody know who the first man to download files from the cloud using a tablet was?
Was it Adam?
Really?
Well, stay for the laughs is what I say.
No idea, Tina.
No, it was Moses.
I knew it was.
Ouch. Ouch.
But true.
No, that's good. That's a good one. And that's a good one. And I think we probably should end the show on that, but let's not. Why should we? Anyway, I've gone through every story that I want to. Is there anybody have anything that they want to say?
No, the Lions won against Kansas City. That was great.
Kurt, is there anything you want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about the Seahawks. That was awful.
And the Raiders won too.
Our number one quarterback didn't produce either.
Yeah. Well, at least they don't kiss their players. That's all I could say. The coaches don't kiss their players when they win. So that's a good thing. I guess that's a good thing. Whereas in European football, they do kiss their players, but and then of course they lose their career and everything else about it. So
Tina, I had to watch a tough game Saturday night though.
Oh, which game?
I'm a graduate of the University of Maryland, but I am a season ticket holder for the University of Charlotte. University of North Carolina, Charlotte.
Oh, yes.
And they were playing each other.
They were. I saw that.
Like, who do I root for?
I saw that. Well, you know what game was tough for me to watch? Was UNLV versus Michigan. UNLV, I think it was like 7-30 something. That was a tough game. So I definitely understand those.
Well, if nobody else has anything to say, then we'll say goodbye to those people that are watching us on social media. We'll stay in the room a little while longer to talk about some things that they wish they could hear and be privy to. But if you want to, you can always join us by DMing us, and we'll send you a link so you can join the panel. How's that sound? That sounds great. In the meantime, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share the show with people, send a link. If you're in the show, you want to click your, share it on your Facebook page, that would be great. That would help a lot, so more people can hear how funny we really are and how well educated we are about current events. I think that's pretty cool. Other than that, I can't think of anything else to say, except just remember, everything you heard today was an opinion, so do your own research. And the last thing I will say before we go, I'll have one more thing, but does anybody have anything else that they want to say before we say goodbye to social media?
Good.
All right, well, then that's it. Just remember, you make it happen. Go out and make it happen. Have a great week, and we'll see you again next week. Remember to give us the thumbs up. And with that, we are off social media. We are now going back to our real lives. Thanks, everybody, for watching.